Hey everybody, it's David welcoming you back to Zone 5B in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. It is cold again here today, probably in the 20s or 30s. Excuse me, we did have some spitting snow today, so I am getting all my gardening love taken care of inside the house. And I wanted to just share a quick update with you guys. First, I did want to mention, some of you may wonder why I mention my zone before every single video. That's because when it comes to gardening, your zone makes a big difference. I mentioned it briefly in some of my other videos. When I started gardening, when I got into gardening, I got into it in the winter. So all of the gardeners that I found on YouTube that I still follow to this day, who give great, amazing advice and are super knowledgeable about gardening, were West Coast or Southern gardeners. They're in California, they're in Texas, they're in Florida, where they can pretty much garden year round because of the temperature. And up here in Zone 5B, we can't do that. We obviously have really cold winters. Summer can get really hot, but the winters take a big chunk out of our growing season. So when you hear me say I'm Zone 5B, it's to let you know, if you're watching and you're not in the Illinois area, if you're in Ohio, or if you're anywhere else in the country, or anywhere in the world, if you know growing zones, then you'll kind of understand where I'm at if we're close to the same zone. I recently started watching gardening in Canada with Ashley, who's zone, I believe, 3 up in Canada. And I'm getting a lot of really great advice from her because she has cold winters too. So a lot of what she says applies more to me than the things that I had learned from all of those warm climate gardeners. So it's always nice, watch as many gardeners as you can to learn from them, but pay attention to their zone because some of what they say might not necessarily apply. So quick update for you on the indoor garden. So over here where we have our pomegranates, I did do some trimming. I pruned, these are pomegranate trees, so I did trim some of the excess off. I filled my water tanks. Again, these are just dog or pet water bowls. And I am growing this hydroponically. So I have them in a coco coir medium, and this jug I fill with fertilizer and water. It automatically comes out because of the little pressure knob on the water tank. So when the plant soaks up all the water it's sitting in, more will come out of this 1.5 gallons, I think was the size container. So I left a little line here. I painted it black to help cut down on the mold inside the container. I left a strip so I can see my water level. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's up to there because I just filled it today. And so far, the pomegranates have been doing really, really well using that. And over here, some of the things that I have going are my tomato rootstocks. So those are the rootstocks that I want to graft tomatoes I want onto because these are hardy. They're more disease resistant. They're going to grow faster. So that's something new I'm trying this year. In this tray, I do have Brussels sprouts and broccoli. And you see all of the Brussels sprouts actually went ahead and germinated. And those weren't fresh seeds. Those seeds are at least a year old. So I had really good germination from my Brussels sprouts. My broccoli, I have 3 that have popped up so far and 3 that haven't. And again, those were older seeds. And then in this container, I have cabbage and something else that I forget what I planted. The 6 over here that haven't germinated yet are 2 varieties of celery. So I am trying to grow celery again. I did manage to get some germination last year. I had celery that grew most of the season. And then I think I kind of messed up at the end. So I never got anything I could eat. Here in the egg tray, I have 3 different varieties of seed potatoes. So when it comes to potatoes, you buy seed potatoes and then you can stick them in the ground and hopefully grow more potatoes. They sprout at the eyes, which I'm sure we've all seen accidentally on ones that we bought and left in the pantry too long. With regular potatoes like these, it helps if you do what's called chit them, C-H-I-T. And that is where you let these eyes grow a little bit more and then you put them in the ground. You could just put them in the ground with no obvious eyes, with no sprouting, but chitting can cut down on the grow time. So if you start early enough, it is a really good thing to do. The other thing you could do with a potato that's like this big is if I develop more eyes, I could actually cut this in half. And as long as each segment had some visible eyes or sprouts on it, each should grow potatoes. So I am chitting my potatoes to try to get that head start. Over here on this shelf, I have 2 cucumbers started, 2 different varieties of cucumbers. There's 2 in each one. These I started now because I want to grow them indoors. If I was going to grow them outdoors, put them outside, I would not have started them yet because they grow so fast and they don't necessarily like their roots disturbed. So these are going to go in some soil. They're going to go over by my indoor tomatoes under grow lights, and I'm going to try to grow cucumbers inside so I could get a head start on that. You guys saw this on my last video. If you watched, this is that Let Pot seed starter, and look how good these tomatoes are doing in there. That is a gigantic tomato, and it was just started about a little over a week ago now. I do have some more peppers that have sprouted up here. Again, with the Let Pot system, you can control everything from an app. You can control the light from an app. You can control the temperature because there is a heat mat underneath here as well. There is an EC meter to measure the nutrients in the soil. So it's got just about everything in it that you could want. And then down here are some onions. 2 of the trays haven't sprouted at all, but this one, I do have some onions sprouting. So I think the tray that sprouted is probably going to be my bunching onions or my green onions. And then the 2 that haven't sprouted yet are probably my bulbing onions because I do want to get some onions going. And the only other thing I wanted to share with you guys are my sweet potatoes. So sweet potatoes are not actually related to regular potatoes despite the similar names. So if you want to grow sweet potatoes, you want to take the potato, half bury it in a moist potting soil or medium, put it under some grow lights, and wait for shoots to grow. And they will be little plants that grow off of the sweet potatoes. And each sweet potato can produce many of these shoots. Once those slips or shoots are grown, we'll pop them off our sweet potato. We will soak them in some water till they root, and then you can plant those right in the ground, and that's what you grow your sweet potatoes from. So again, we've got a lot going on. Here's actually the branches that I pruned off of my pomegranates. We have a lot going on here. One of my tomatoes in my red solo cup has sprouted. I have some more seed starting to do because I want to grow at least one of every determinate variety of tomato that I have. So I still have like 8 more different varieties that I need to start. So I'm going to do that in a new video, another short video later this week. But in the meantime, I wanted you guys to see what all is going on because this is the time where you can start your slower crops. You can start your tomatoes, you can start your peppers, give them a good 8 to 10 weeks to grow before we're going to transplant those outside. You can start your cool weather crops like the cabbage and the brassicas, the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts because they can handle a little bit cooler weather. So I have those ready to go. I'm trying to get those onions started because they take a long time to go. So eggplants are another one you could start now to give that head start before we move them outside. So I'm really excited about everything that's going on here. And actually sitting here, I just noticed I do have one little sprout in here. And that is a pineapple ground cherry, which up until now, I have never had a single seed sprout. I've tried a couple different brands of pineapple ground cherries. If you watched my other videos, I've talked about the ground cherries, how delicious the regular ones are. I love pineapple. I was really excited You find pineapple ground cherry, sometimes called pineapple tomatillas because it's a similar growth habit. But I will let you know how that progresses as well. So that's going to do it for today. I wanted a short video just to show you an update. I will keep you updated as we go along so you can see how everything's growing, so you can see what's not growing, and so you can walk along with me. So get your dirt, get your cups, get your planting trays. Let's grow something together. Let's get ready to grow. Hey, spring is right around the corner, we hope. So get those seeds started now. So when we're rolling, whether it's flowers, tomatoes, peppers, brassicas, cabbage, you are ready to go when the ground is ready for us. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to hit that like button, share my video if you will, so it helps get to more people. Subscribe so you get my next video. And I want to thank you guys all for coming. Again, remember to grow a little every day. Never stop growing. And thank you for joining me here on Come Grow with David I. I'll see you guys soon.